Go ahead.
Oh, I don't have anything.
All right, expectations for this year. 4 straight College World Series now. Does it ever get less? Last year you had the really high ranking. This year not as high. But does it ever get easier for you getting the season started?
It's always easy to get going because you're excited. You can't wait for the players to get back and ready to get to work with everybody. And I mean, to me, I look at it 2 ways. You look at it from a program standpoint, where you're constantly trying to improve the program, and then from a team standpoint, you have to reset to 0 every year. And last year we returned a lot of guys, and so it was a pretty, to their credit, it was an easy team to coach. There weren't that many challenges. The challenges were to, handle the expectation and handle the ego that could come along with that, and our guys did an awesome job with that. This year, although the program and the fans' expectations, I'm sure, remain the same, it's a completely new team, and so I haven't seen a lot of these guys do anything yet other than hitting the cages and take ground balls or throwing the bullpen. So we have a lot of work to do. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I haven't had a team at TCU since my 2nd year that had as many or more new players than returning players. We have 18 new players. We have 18 returning players. I think our first recruiting class, which included Matt Carpenter and Sam Demmel and some of those guys, I think it had like 21 players in it, so it probably had more. But I'm pretty sure we haven't had that since I've been here. So a lot of turnover, and which we knew was going to happen. The draft hit us more than it has in the past in terms of our recruiting class, and we thought we had a chance to keep Austin Wade around, but it didn't work out that way. So there's a lot of new challenges, but that's exciting, and we're fired up to get going. I love fall practice.
Does that make fall more intense knowing you have so many new guys? Like, is it, like you said last year, you had so many returning guys, fall was probably a little smoother. Now it's, you got to hammer in and start locating who's going to be third, short, second.
Yeah, I mean, well, we won't determine any of that, but it's more about watching those guys compete. You got every position's up for competition, but you really, you only return 3 everyday position players that played significant time: Watson, Baker, and Humphreys, right? Well, Wanhan, Humphreys is a part-time guy, so that's a lot of opportunity. That's a lot of great stuff. It's the intentional stuff that's on my plate is to make sure the culture of the program remains the same, and that guys know how to do things, and that guys know where to go and how to act and what to do, and certainly have some help with that with an awesome 3 or 4 core group of older players. But to me, our biggest challenge is that right now, and then the baseball stuff will just, how they play will dictate who plays.
You mentioned those core guys for you this year, but do any of the past guys come by and help you with that in terms of delivering the culture?
I think that I had in my office yesterday Traver, Howard, Merrill, and Cam Warner. Those, as soon as they get back from pro ball, they come straight to here and they want to hang out, which is great. And so I think those guys are here for the most part for the fall. So I think there's a lot of time spent away from the field between the new guys, and they get to hang out around Brian Howard, and those guys are such great program people that there'll be conversations there. And then I'm sure I'll pick a time where I'll have maybe Brian or Mitchell, something like that, come back and maybe visit with just the new guys and give them a player perspective. But those are the things that you hope kind of transfer over time.
Well, that's something that's, I guess, is unique to your program. It's pretty valuable that you can have guys come in all the time.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's why we put the alumni locker room in there, and Zach Dakin, our strength coach, does an awesome job with that. I think it's a great statement on his behalf that there's nothing more important to a professional athlete than their body and who they entrust that to in the off season. And I would say 90% of our former players who are in professional baseball, they all come back and work out here with their college strength coach. And so that's that, and plus Fort Worth's such a great town, so it drives those guys to want to be back here. It doesn't hurt that there's no state income tax, so for a professional, for professional athletes, that's always good. But yeah, they're around, and those guys are living, breathing testimonies to what we want to be about.
How's Baker?
he's fully released to do everything. So he's been hitting probably for 3 weeks. He's probably been taking ground balls and throwing for 2 weeks, and I'm sure the test will be when we have a similar play come up that where he got hurt on. But he's moving around great, and he's full scale swinging that bat.
You got your rotation. You lose Howard and Traver. You have a couple guys in mind that are going to step into those spots.
Well, you have Janzik and Lodolo that I would think that, barring something crazy happening, that they would be a part of that rotation. And we're going to look hard at Sean Weimer as a starter. I'm not 100% convinced that that's what will happen. But he has to go out there and earn it. Certainly know what he can do in the bullpen, and there's tremendous value in having two really good ones down there. We've always tried to have that, and we had like Tico and Farrell, and last year Weimer and Feltman. And so I like having that two-headed monster.
You've seen that more in the pros now too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then Charles King, certainly he pitched great at the end of the year. I think he'll have a chance. We have some freshman pitchers that can do that. Halen Green had a little surgery this summer that I think is going to make him a lot better pitcher. A little bone chips removed, which has a tendency to really allow a guy's arm to free up and maybe throw a little bit. His stuff, I think, has a chance to take a jump, and we like him as a future starting pitcher. But it's all, with the exception of Feltman and Coughlin, for the most part, we'll treat everybody as a starter this fall, and they get to go out and compete, and then it'll just depend on how everybody, compares to the rest of the staff.
Any chance Coughlin or Green plays a little outfield this year as well?
No.
They're
No.
strictly pitchers now?
Yeah, they're strictly pitchers. They were,
They came in with the ability to
those guys
well.
came in. We gave them a chance to swing the bat a little bit early, but then it's hard. It's hard to do both. And now we have a lot of junior college. We have a lot of junior college transfers. We have a fifth-year transfer. I've never had one of those before, so that's been interesting. So there'll be good competition in the outfield.
Obviously, those guys are here because they're good players, but talent-wise, do you have a sense at all where they are compared with some of the guys you've had?
Yeah, I think physically, tooled-wise, they're right where we want to be. Just looking at how their arm strength, maybe how the ball comes off their bat, that kind of thing. If you're just evaluating physical tools in a workout, there's a couple of them pretty exciting to watch. But until you play the games, it's not all that tough to go down those batting cages and hit off a tee or hit off batting practice. But when Jared Janzik starts spinning the ball a little bit at you, and Lodolo's throwing one behind you, the breaking ball starts behind you, and as a left-handed hitter, so we'll we just have to get out there and see him play. But there's a couple guys that have us pretty fired up, at least to this point.
So Coach Mo was just with Team USA winning the World Cup, the World Championship out there. What does that do for your program?
I think it gives us. It's, number one, it's a great thing for him, because I think anytime you get a chance to put USA across your chest, it's an awesome experience, and you're with other great coaches, and so you learn. You pick up new things as you're hanging out. When you're not playing the games. I've been through that twice, and I know how much it helped me. And I think anytime you're around great players, it helps you with some things. But I think the other thing, and it would be a great story for you guys to write, is ask him that question. And I think he gained an even greater appreciation for our players and how coachable they are, how their desire to learn. And not that those guys aren't, but they're certainly a lot younger. And today's world makes a player like that feel pretty good about himself. So it was a great experience for him. It gives us good visibility type stuff. That's it.
You mentioned Nick. How much growth do you think he's going to have between year one and year two?
Well, normally my theory is that the biggest jump you ever see in a player's career, if you could measure it out on a timeline, is not from freshman to senior. It's from freshman to sophomore. It's always the biggest jump you see. And guys come back, they're used to things. There's a comfort zone with school. There's a comfort zone with the coaching staff. There's a comfort zone with college baseball, the crowd, nothing's new to them. So you normally see him take a big jump, and that's not 100% the case. But I think with Nick, we're certainly hoping for it. I think his bullpens have been good. He's gained weight, he's gained strength, and he's a guy. if he doesn't leave here one of the top 2 or 3 left-handed pitchers in the country, that would be a fail on somebody's part for sure. So we're trying every day to make sure that doesn't happen, but we're counting on him for big things.
With losing a lot of those guys in leadership and stuff, is that a conversation you have to have with some of the older guys now about becoming leaders, or do you just see them kind of step up into that role?
No, we had those conversations, within a week after getting back from Omaha last year. Juan Hunting was here all summer. Janzik was here all summer. Baker was here all summer. Landestoy was not, but we tried to include him by way of email or phone calls. And once Watson, Weimer, and Feltman got back, those guys are all, we do some cool things. I take them all to dinner right when school starts, and we hammer some things out, and I get to listen to them as well. And so they've been great. And having the freshman class now here, this is the 4th year we're allowed to have them here in the summer. That was a huge step, and so I feel very good about that. It just depends on, now it's just going to be where do those particular players fit in to the team. You'd like to have your leaders be on the field every day playing, and certainly Janzik will be, and Baker will be, and you'd like to think Connor will. Connor's made some awesome strides with his strength and his swing, so I'm hoping to see that translate in the field. But there aren't as many of those kind of guys this year, but it doesn't have to be as many. You just have to have the right ones.
Do you see Landestoy playing anywhere but first base?
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, if you hit, you don't sit. That's for sure. If you swing the bat, the coach has to find a spot for you. I think that if he were to really swing the bat, then maybe outside of first base, you could see him. Maybe we might look at him in the outfield. We have some really good young infielders, and Michael's a good defender. He has some limitations that would keep him from playing there almost every day, but you never know. I mean, I've certainly seen everything in 28 years, but if you hit, you play, and we would love to have his energy and experience on the field, more often than not.
You mentioned Connor. Is he going to be splitting time between first and maybe some outfield? Or?
Just all outfield this fall.
Okay.
I think going back to first base, if we needed him to do that, it wouldn't be that tough of a deal. If we had to get him going in January, we can always hit him ground balls a little bit throughout the fall. But I want to give him every opportunity to win a job in the outfield. And that's what he was in high school, and so we're going to give him that chance.
Baker's your first baseman, right?
Yeah, Baker will play first base, and certainly Michael will take balls over there. I mean, Michael, with the exception of Baker, we bounce all the infielders around all fall long because we want them to learn all the positions, and if no other reason, you learn an appreciation for the other positions. But yeah, Baker will be, he'll be on the field all the time.
I never asked you this, but you think back, what kind of difference could Lucan have made for you in Omaha those 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, could he have been a better hitter against Alex Faedo?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know. I mean, I think Faedo was that good. I mean, great pitching beats great hitting most of the time. You'd like to think, we had first in that last game. I think we had first and second and one out, and Scal, Guff, and Warner, and that's where you're thinking, man, it'd be nice to have Baker right in there in those RBI spots. But I think at the end of the day, our team accomplished about what it was capable of, and then the baseball guys just kind of got us at the end. But it would have been fun to see him out there, that's for sure.
Do you think a little bit of a silver lining from that injury was getting to see Humphreys and getting him that playing time now that he has to step up?
Oh, yeah, huge, yeah, because now this year, he didn't get to catch as much, but he just being in the game, playing in super regionals, playing in Omaha. If Baker would have been out there, I don't know how much Zach would have played at all down the stretch. So there's always a blessing in disguise from it. There's always a silver lining. Nobody ever talks about the fact that, yeah, we lost Baker, but we got Janzik back. And so that really speaks to, not that we don't love Bake, but if you could ask any major league general manager if everything's equal, they're going to trade for a great starting pitcher or trade for a middle of the order hitter. For the most part, they're taking the pitcher every day. So we did get Janzik back, and that was a big part of our run at the end. But yeah, Zach's he's a big part of this team, and I can see him doing a lot of great things for us.
Have you ever had to replace basically your entire infield in one off season with young guys?
Yeah.
Not just
Well,
guys?
I mean, pretty much 2 years ago. So well, Barzilli was already in the program, but he didn't play much. Keaton Jones was gone. Garrett Crane was gone, Fanning was gone, right? So